The Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has been around for over 32 years, spanning across movies, comic books, and a rocky history of games. So in today's video, we'll be counting down the top 10 Easter eggs in Sonic. Before we do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel with all notifications. I'll give you a second to do that. And drop your favorite Sonic Easter eggs down below in the comments. Coming in at number 10 is the roads in Sonic Generations Speed Highway. If you look up at the road signs, you'll see Chow Garden, which is funny enough, Blaze Road, Rouge Street, E123 Omega Road, South Shadow Avenue, Vector, Storm, SBO Road, Chip Road, Jet Drive, T-Call Square, Wave Avenue. If you think about it, this would imply that Sonic characters are so heroic and their deeds have been recognized by the local governments, which would assume, and here's my headcanon, that their past deeds of heroism have been recognized, which have led these characters to be honored with streets named after them. This isn't too far-fetched, because the United Federation's president has a picture of Sonic and Shadow post-Sonic Adventure 2 battle on his desk, which would imply that Sonic characters get their proper recognition for saving the world every other day. As a matter of fact, that picture of Sonic and Shadow would probably be my number 9 Easter egg in the Sonic franchise. Not too subtle, but also keeps the continuity together and implies the events of Sonic Adventure 2 battle and Shadow's sacrifice happened in the past. Little things like that always get me going. Love to see it. Let's move on to number 8. My next favorite Easter egg in the Sonic franchise involves the fishing minigame with Big the Cat. One of the coolest things about Frontiers leading up to its release was the inclusion of Big the Cat in a fishing minigame in Frontiers. When you think of open world games, you think of fishing. Could Sonic Frontiers truly be an open world game without fishing? This was Sonic's chance to truly stack up against the open world competition. One of the coolest things that you can find in fishing, among several other things, there's like the Eggman memos and stuff like that, cool things to fish up, but this is my favorite. One of the things you can catch while fishing is a giant Eggman sign, which is a callback to all of the classic Sonic games. This is a clear callback to the old Genesis games where you would have signs with Eggman on it, so it proves that these are canon, you know what I'm saying? After Sonic dashes through these and changes it to his name, I guess Eggman tosses them into the water or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a recreation of Sonic's memories, which I think that's what cyberspace is. Let's move on to the next one. The next Easter egg appears in my personal favorite Sonic game of all time, Sonic Adventure 1. Love it or hate it, the hub worlds are a part of Sonic Adventure 1, and I truly think that it adds to the immersive experience with the hub world to level transition. After you complete a level in Sonic Adventure, you will end up in the hub world, and when you end up in the hub world, sometimes in Adventure DX, which is the port, you will see Cream the Rabbit flying around. Now, this is exclusive to the SADX port, which came out in 2004 for the Nintendo GameCube. Let's roll the clip of Cream the Rabbit flying around. Pretty cool Easter egg, which would imply that Cream the Rabbit was flying around somewhere during the events of Sonic Adventure 1. This was before the main cast actually met her. I think. I don't know. It depends when Sonic Advance takes place in the timeline, but let me know if you have a theory about that down below. Let's move on to the next one, though. My next favorite Easter egg is found in Studiopolis Zone in Sonic Mania. Now, this is my favorite individual Easter egg, but there are so many different hidden Easter eggs in this level, but there is one in particular that really stands out to me because it's such a cool callback. So if you look at the popcorn shop right here, it says Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop. Now, why is that significant? Let's take one more look at it. So if you look, Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop. Now, if you watch some of my videos, or if you're into niche Sonic information in general, you'll recognize this from the hit arcade game Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop, which is actually a real game. This features Sonic and Tails in their own little popcorn shop with Dr. Eggman chasing after you with a hammer, and you and Tails set out to create some nice popcorn. I mean, who doesn't like popcorn? What's really interesting about this machine is that if you actually played the official arcade game, you would actually get popcorn by playing it, as shown in this clip right here. So if you want popcorn, Sonic is your guy. Maybe this could go higher on the list just because of how cool the callback is, but let's move on to the next one. The next Easter egg on this list is Majin Sonic. Majin Sonic is a very creepy Easter egg that you can unlock by using the sound test in Sonic CD, and this is the secret message that plays. Let's roll the clip. That just might be the thing of nightmares. Seeing that creepy little face with that creepy, ominous music is probably something you would see in your nightmares. CD could almost be swapped with the I'm out of here Easter egg that plays when you wait for 3 minutes in the game. Sonic jumps off the cliff. Sonic CD will always be such a weird game to me, but with that being said, let's move on to the next Easter egg. In Sonic Generations, you will see wanted posters of characters like Bark, Bean, and Fang the Sniper, aka Knack the Weasel, who is now Fang the Hunter. It's funny because the last time that these characters appeared was in Sonic the Fighters back in 1997 or something like that, 1998, I don't even remember. Obviously, Fang has had a more prominent role throughout the years with Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic Superstars most recently, but he was also in Sonic the Fighters as well. And how could we forget Bean? These are characters from the classic era, which, you know, when Sonic Generations came out, these are all characters from the classic era, which at the time were MIA if you consider Fang, which have been missing for quite a while, and Sega makes a little nod to that. In addition to that, in Sonic Generations, there's two other characters, Mighty and Ray, who have been missing since 1993 in their debut game Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, which was an arcade exclusive game. However, these missing characters that were missing since 1993 were later rediscovered in Sonic Mania Plus, all these years later. A recent TalesTube episode actually cleared up the fact that Mighty and Ray are still out there in the modern timeline, so it's curious to see if they'll ever actually appear in a new Sonic game. We'll just have to wait and see. The next big Easter egg is the LEGO Sonic Dimensions dialogue that has several callbacks to the Sonic franchise. LEGO Dimensions was a lengthy DLC that features LEGO Sonic the Hedgehog in a brand new campaign inspired by the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and it was actually a pretty faithful adaptation with a lot of cool gameplay ideas. Throughout the campaign, you actually hear Sonic make several callbacks and references to the actual Sonic series. Let's take a look at some of those voice clips because these are some of my favorite Easter eggs in the entire franchise.
Ah, lumpy space princess, huh? Last time I met a princess, I don't quite remember. Never mind. Hey, a Ghostbuster. I saw this creepy doll that kind of looks like my friend Tails. Think you could take a look? So, you're into collecting rings too, huh? Yeah, they're pretty precious.
But yeah, these cool voice lines are such an awesome Easter egg, and this isn't really scratching the surface of how cool this LEGO Sonic DLC was. But with that being said, let's move on to the next one. The next Easter egg is in relation to the Sega Dreamcast, the iconic Sega console, and the last Sega console ever made. Now, there's two different Easter eggs I'd like to point out. It's almost tied, but it ties back to the same central theme. So the first Dreamcast Easter egg is actually in Sonic Unleashed in one of the final cutscenes of the game. Everyone knows that the cutscenes in this game are absolutely spectacular and almost looks like a Pixar Disney movie. But in one of the final cutscenes when Dark Gaia finally shows himself, if you look inside of Eggman's Eggmobile, right here, you will see a Sega Dreamcast with a copy of Eggman Adventure. It's cool to know that even if the world is ending, Eggman will still find a way to play some video games and even create his own ROM hack, or whatever you want to call it, of Sonic Adventure, the greatest Sonic game ever. Which brings me to my next point. In Sonic Adventure, E105 Zeta, who was one of Gamma's brothers that you'll actually end up fighting in the game, is actually made of Sega Dreamcast. If you take a closer look at him, what is his frame made out of? Upon further inspection, it is none other than the Sega Dreamcast. So Sega Dreamcast seems to be the console that gets the most love when it comes to Sonic Easter eggs. So I had to tie these two at number 2. To me, they're both really cool, but kind of fall under the same umbrella. And finally, the number 1 Easter egg, my personal favorite in all of Sonic games, are the Big the Cat cameos that you will see throughout the campaign. Look right here, and there is Big the Cat. Despite the fact that Big the Cat is not actually playable in this game, he may actually be featured in the most levels in Sonic Adventure 2. You'll casually find him doing a lot of weird stuff in this game. For example, if you're fighting Shadow, you might look down into the sewers and see Big the Cat drowning or I don't know what. No matter where you go, this guy is just always getting into trouble. The best Easter egg out of them all, because he appears a lot in this game, and I won't overstay my welcome and keep talking about it, but if you continuously mash the B button during the Knuckles vs. Rouge fighting scene, the coolest thing you'll ever see is Big the Cat actually appearing in the cutscene. And this is triggered by actual direct player input. By far, out of all Easter eggs, this has to be the coolest one in the entire Sonic franchise. And in Sonic Adventure 2 fashion, in Sonic and the Secret Rings, you will also see random Big the Cat appearances throughout all of the levels. So I thought that was a really cool callback as well. I guess we'll tie that as number 1 for SA2 and Secret Rings.